started. Thank you very much. If you haven't eaten, go ahead. Don't worry. So we're calling to order. We're verifying a quorum
Yes, we have a.
and we confirmed that it was posted at the agenda for the city clerk
Yes,
and announcements of any changes to the agenda.
no,
Any public comment? None. Okay, thank you very much. Consent calendar.
So moved.
We have first and a second, and let's see, I can,
And who's the second? Okay.
and Zane's.
Zane doesn't count, does he? He didn't fill out the forms.
Sorry, I'll be there. I'll be there in a few
Okay,
minutes.
thanks, Zane. Okay, so I can go ahead and,
Yeah, we can just do a reverse roll call.
okay, we'll do reverse roll call.
Any opposition?
Yeah.
Any abstention? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is what we've all been kind of waiting for. So we're going to go right into our volunteer appreciation part of the program. So do I need to go up there?
Maybe, because I can see you better, yeah.
I didn't bring my glasses, so if I squint, don't worry.
As he walks up there, this is our annual recognition of our volunteers for Thanksgiving month. We thank the volunteers that have worked for us.
Okay. All right, so good evening. Thank you for joining us to take this opportunity to honor the incredible volunteers, the South Bay City's Council of Governments during the month of Thanksgiving. I'm Rodney Tanaka, and I have the great privilege and honor of serving as the chair of the South Bay COG, as well as being the mayor pro tem for the city of Gardena. I am incredibly proud that the cities of the South Bay have placed such high priority on adopting and leading by example in sustainable policies and programs. The support of our volunteers plays a critical role in extending our reach and helping us spread word about energy efficiency, water conservation, shared mobility options, and recycling of individuals, business, and public agencies across the region. Currently, we have 15 active volunteers, and since 2008, over 300 volunteers have contributed more than 20,000 hours of service. So we are pleased to see the number of active volunteers growing again since COVID. There is no way that we could have achieved or maintained our extensive programs without the dedication of our volunteers. And in this month of Thanksgiving, we want to take this opportunity to actually say thank you. So over the past year, our volunteers have assisted with a variety of crucial tasks, including climate action implementation, attending community outreach events, data entry, and providing information on transportation options, and environmental programs. Well, as you can see, our volunteers are an integral part of everything we do, and we are proud to recognize them tonight. So before we introduce our volunteers, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge some of the special guests. Now, I know that I think Senator Bradford is on the way, but I understand that Pat Carey from Lawndale's here. Yes?
Over there.
And I don't think I missed anybody, so we're gonna move on. Now, partnering with us this evening is Gus Mesa and West Basin Municipal. So I hope you've been enjoying the wonderful slideshow that's been going on before we switched screens. But we had a great slideshow of the South Bay COG staff put together. And it was running for a while during dinner service. Now, to say a few words and introduce our staff, I'd like to turn it over to our Executive Director, Jackie Blackburn.
Well, we wanted to make sure you knew that how important the volunteers are for us. So we asked our staff to stay so that they could be here and let you know with their presence how important our volunteers are. So I'm going to start by introducing Kim. I guess don't applaud for everybody.
You can plug for me.
I'm not sure I see Laura in the room. I know she's here. Laura Burgess is our administrative officer. David Legere, our senior project manager. Ronson is here somewhere, but maybe he's not in the office right this second.
Standing right outside the door, hiding.
Ronson's hiding. from us. Okay, Ronson's senior project manager. Colleen Farrell, who's been doing the pictures. She's our senior project manager. We have Talia Perlis. Talia is in the back. And green, she's project coordinator. Jake Romoff, right here. There's people left out. Eleanor Murphy is there. Ann Tsai, is Ann here?
Ann's in the office.
Oh, Ann's back there working.
So
Katie Segovia, Katie, are you here somewhere? I'm here.
Patty.
There you are. Patty Adjulia, somewhere maybe. She's also, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. Okay. And Soren, Vic? Soren?
There he is.
There's Soren. Woo! Andrea Mulligan, Natalie Champion. Yay. And I think the last, our senior project manager and volunteer coordinator, Martha Segovia. Tonight, in addition to recognizing all of our volunteers, because you're all so special, we also have some special recognition to 3 of our volunteers who had their outstanding service hours this year. Outstanding service awards. We recognize both annual and cumulative contributions for our volunteers. And we do it on an 11-month cycle, so it's what they did from January to November. Everybody gets December off. Not that they don't get off not doing an event, but they get off the numbers. And we have the total numbers of hours they worked in the current year. And we do have I don't know if it's scrolling here, this is fine, but we do have that there. So Ronnie, wherever you are, I'm going to turn it over back to you.
I'm here. Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna go through 3 of our really dedicated great volunteers, but I think 2 of them aren't here tonight because they're out volunteering somewhere. I recognize them tonight. So this year we do have 3 receiving special recognition for their cumulative service. First, I'd like to recognize a volunteer who has worked 50 hours this year at the COG. So join me in congratulating a Value Volunteer Award awardee, Alex Keene. And with us since July of 2023. So we do have a certificate of appreciation as well as a gift card for volunteer. Now, our second one, special volunteer, has worked over 100 hours this year at the COG. So join me in congratulating Green Ambassador Award awardee, Nathan Esser. 23. So for Nathan, we have a nice certificate as well as a $25 gift card.
Nathan, where is
Oh, very nice. Oh, cool.
Biggest the home version.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Instagram. Oh, okay. I'll do it.
Memory foam.
1, 2, 3. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rodney.
Am I trouble again?
A representative to give a certificate to.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I think.
I got one right here.
Member gives.
Hi, guys. Mark with Assemblymember Gibson's office. Right here and my certificate.
Thank you.
Nice, very good.
Dave, did we have gifts and certificates from Senator Allen, Assemblymember McKinnon?
I think they're being handed out in the stack, yeah.
All right, thank you. We do have one from the. Okay, so let's see, our next volunteer has put in 600 hours of service. See, I said, Angela's probably out there serving another place, in volunteer work, but 600 hours of service.
Wow.
To Angela Delgado, and she started in July of 2023. So she'll be giving a certificate and a $50 gift card as well as the certificates. They are getting certificate from Senator Allen, Assembly Member McKinnon, Assembly Member Lowenthal, and City of Rolling Hills Estate, as well as Scott.
Senator
Bradford's
right there.
At this time, I'd like to invite all of our volunteers to come forward, receive a token of our appreciation from the COG. So we're delighted to present each of you with a coffee cup from the COG.
Oh.
Don't drink coffee, you can put your scotch or whatever else you want.
Maybe tea.
And we are also. Sunflower.
Chairman Tanaka.
Senator Bradford.
Yes, Steve. All right, sir.
Oh, okay. See, I'm excited.
So you can see about our volunteers, and maybe next year we'll have double the amount.
We're hoping.
So if you know of somebody that wants to volunteer, please let them know.
I know they did, yeah. You send it around, I guess.
One.
See how many times it goes around.
Oh. He's right in there with you.
Oh, I know.
Justin's already signed in.
So he-
Okay.
Earlier, did he? Oh, Alfonso hasn't.
Closer together. One,
You like us.
one.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. One of our special guests did come in, Senator Bradford is in the back there. I see it. Okay, so there is an awesome cake over there, so make sure you all stay for cake. And then I really want to thank everyone for attending tonight to honor our volunteers. There's a lot of businesses, the bus knows, just like the police department, nothing exists without volunteers. There you go. Non-sworn that do actually all the work. So we appreciate you all. And so it's a privilege to showcase the people who support and strengthen our programs. And of course, a special thank you to Martha and the entire South Bay COG staff for their outstanding work in making our environmental programs a success. So thank you again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the meeting, and don't forget, we have cake. Okay.
No, you're up there still.
This one?
Reach the bottom of your.
Uh-oh. I heard it. You brought it.
You guys should take
We have two very important people that we want to recognize and honor tonight with our thanks for the many years of public service. First, we have our own Steve Bradford. He started at the COG as an elected member from Gardena. He was on our city council. Went on from there to continue to serve the South Bay for over 2 decades, bringing his experience in local government to the California legislature. First, as a state assembly member, and now as state senator. Through all these years, he has been a friend of the COG. Steve is currently the vice chair of the California Legislative Black Caucus, the chair of the Senate Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Communications. Also serves on the Committee on Public Safety. He authored the landmark legislation allowing for the return of property stolen from the Bruce family at Bruce's Beach. Senator Bradford also served the California Reparations Task Force, which studied and made more recommendations for future reparations for descendants of slaves. He authored the Ebony Alert in 2023, which helps bring home missing Black children and young Black women. In 2024, he authored the SB 1348, creating the first in the nation designation a Black serving institution for California colleges that are committed to and invest in Black student success. And prior to his service in local and state government, Senator Bradford was employed by Southern California Edison, a district director for Congresswoman Juanita Melander McDonald, program director for the LA Conservative Group Force, national director of Bigger and Better Businesses for Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and as a marketing and sales representative for the Internal Business Machining Corporation. Steve grew up in Gardena, played baseball. He founded our jazz festival, which is, I think, our 21st year,
Second.
22nd year. Graduated from Dominguez Hills. And for your dedication, Steve, come on up. Thank you for your dedication to the public service. And since through the years, we have given you plaques and pins and all kinds of other goodies. But this time, we decided to give you something upbeat. So.
Your phone.
It's a big red trade, but Stevie, thank you very much for all that you've done. Want to say something, sir?
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It is truly an honor to be here among so many folks that I've known over the decades. As Rodney has stated, I started out on local government, so being part of this COG is nothing new, and I really appreciate the work that you guys do as local elected officials, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. Many times people get enamored with the fact that, oh, you're a state senator, you're an assembly person, you're a congressperson, but it's the day-to-day activity, the folks right here that deal with the commonplace issues such as the streetlights, the roads being paved, making sure you have adequate public safety. So we just help finance those projects, but it's you who have to implement it on a day-to-day basis. It's you, many times you hear the complaints directly from the constituents, even though we get many of those calls too. I get many calls saying, why isn't the library open? I say, you got a local elected official. You need to ask them why the library is open. The point is that it takes teamwork. And as stated, it's been an honor to serve for the last 26 years, again, 12 as a Gardena City Council person, in the last 14 as an assembly person and a senator, bringing forth meaningful legislation, working with the city of Inglewood. I was honored to be co-author of the legislation that brought forth the Intuit Dome and many of the developments that are happening throughout the South Bay, helping stand up our oil and gas industry. Even though many folks want us to move away from it, we are very much dependent on what we do at Torrance Refinery in Wilmington. So to represent the dispersed population, not just in ethnicity, but in industry as well. This is probably the most diverse, it's not probably, this is the most diverse Senate district when you talk about aerospace, tech, sports and entertainment, healthcare, universities. We have 4 community colleges, 2 universities, 7 hospitals in this district. So it requires having a relationship with each and every one of you. So I'm honored for this token of recognition. But again, it's about the work. It's never been about me. And I'm humbled to say thank you and have people like Rodney Tanaka that I've known forever when he was driving around in a black and white pulling me over.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1.
Make me look taller.
3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, next. So it's a South Bay Council of Governments tradition. We have this all the time that when a former chair leaves public office, we recognize their service, thank them for their regional leadership. And sadly, tonight, we have a former chair leaving us in office, John Cruikshank. So, John,
I
He
don't
is
believe
the
we-
president and CEO of JMC Squared, a California Civil Structure Engineering Corporation that he founded in 1996. But most important for this evening, John has served 8 years on the Rancho Palos Verdes City Council, including a very busy year as mayor this year, with the acceleration and expansion of the city's landslide area.
There's that.
During this time on the RPV City Council, he has been the city's delegate to the COG. And from July 2022 to July 2023, he was the chair of the South Bay COG. John started his career working for the Caltrans, Los Angeles, and then 2 civil engineering firms prior to starting his own. He attended the University of Southern California, right on, where he received his Bachelor of Science in Building Science in 1988.
I got a BS and BS.
He got that. So he became a registered civil engineer in the state of California in 93. He is a licensed professional engineer in more than 30 states. He obtained his Master's of Science in Engineering Management from SC in 1994. In addition to his many years of civil engineer, John is currently a board member and past president of the Harbor Association of Industry and Commerce, where he formed their Workforce Development Committee. In 2017, he was named a fellow with the American Society of Civil Engineers, awarded Alumni of the Year from SC School of Civil Engineering, elected as a city council member for the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. He currently ran for the Los Angeles County Supervisor and is a board member of the Los Angeles County Taxpayers Association. John lives in Rancho Palos Verdes with his wife Jennifer, son Sean, who graduated from Arizona State University. As is our tradition, we have an engraved pen set for John for his years of service and our logo, as well as a personal gift from all your colleagues on the COG and a gift certificate for you to spend all your free time with.
It's always hard to follow a senator. But I'll be very brief. When I first got on the Rancho Palos Verdes City Council, Anthony Misitich was the council member that used to represent Rancho Palos Verdes here. And I remember that was the one thing he told me. He said, get involved with the COG because that's the one group where you get involved with everything. You get a chance to meet all the great leaders from all the cities in the South Bay. And then real things happen. Like it's one of those boards that you actually get things that happen. It's not, you're just not just getting a stipend. In fact, I don't even think we get a stipend.
Don't get a second.
Please don't tell me because I never got one. Having grown up in Westchester, El Segundo, and migrated south and kind of lived and worked in all your cities, really. It's been an honor to be with all you. I think the diversity of thought has been great. I think that problem solving is really done when everyone has different ideas and people come from different perspectives of cities and the county representatives. And so it's been a real honor. And so I appreciate this, your card and the pen set. And I look forward to still seeing you all. It's not like I'm leaving. I'm still running my engineering company. I wish I could retire, but I gotta keep working.
One, two, three.
Uh-oh.
She wanted to that. Get out the way. Get out the way.
No.
Now you can eat.
Okay, guess what?
Hey,
Time for.
hey.
Please stay with us, have cake, and we'll resume our meeting.
Okay, so
right after.
it's definitely a cake and not keg.
No, not a keg, sorry. I tried that one, but
Don't drink it dry.
I'm with you.
So we'll cut the cake up and we can, if people in the audience want to come up and get it, Bring it to you. We'll start the meeting as. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And I guess have some exercise for your.
Yeah, tomorrow, exactly.
Mhm. Thank you.
I do have it.
But Justin, I was out at the pier
I don't.
on Sunday. I don't know if any of your residents told you that.
Working?
So we were doing.
Hey, man, how you doing? But did you win?
You just do the full inspection. You probably saw this. And part of it is.
I was in Mexico. I was having
We were out there for about 5 hours on a Sunday afternoon.
You leave them, you leave.
I'm turned out in 2 years.
Good leadership.
A lot of things.
You,
That-
Bonnie, son.
I know.
Ray Jackson's. My place. Oh, is it?
Last time I was.
I don't know who's gonna take my.
To rotate again.
Don't know.
But last time I was. 2022.
I don't know if Ray can.
Out of COVID, out of virtual. Finally by around.
I was telling him about the work. My engineering.
I know them because it's.
There, and so we had these sensors. that we could see all the time, and we were lining them up on.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Sunday afternoon.
Like elections.
Yeah, pretty crowded.
Yeah.
And so we had phones and.
No, I agree with you.
People walking like when I said that, I was like,
And it was.
It also doesn't help because I'm
People have to come up and ask what. Like little. One guy says.
After and the. Some profits run right next to it.
I would, I don't need a fork. I have four. Thank you.
Anyhow, I don't know if you got any feedback, but your residents, or the people are.
I haven't gotten any feedback, but they've known, and
Yeah.
public works has been good in terms of phasing it and organizing it. But if it needs to be done, it needs to be done.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the results, because the technology you can use, I think, is a non-destructive way to see if that concrete is moving the way it should be, and if there's any defects in it. So you guys will get a report on that.
Good. I'm glad you're still involved. I know you did the last phase of it,
Yeah,
but I haven't been privy to.
I saw the rails I got to pay for.
I know that.
That's the whole story I don't know.
Now.
Anyhow, I'm glad that's taken care of, although I'm sure people are cutting on those things already.
Sure.
You know, the plywood. It didn't seem like catching much fish, but I think you got a fish this morning.
Yeah. It's probably all fished out because they come out, you know, I see people wheeling like 10 rods and I'm like, look, 2 per person. But I think they bring like their kids and wives.
oh, yeah. They go down to San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times. A lot of lung cancer. Very nice.
They want to have.
Yes. Yeah, how do you spell it? Tell me that spelling again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elected office and gonna enjoy.
I'll deliver.
I got one. Do you have a YouTube channel? Look it up.
I didn't run. Or you do doing?
Not rough.
Are you gonna come to the next scouting? Yeah, I'm trying to get the office sponsored.
You're busy too.
But more than that,
Final decision. I'm thinking
Gonna be
Oh.
13.
Yeah.
She's coming into her teenage years. I want my free time and mental space to my kids.
That's the right thing to do. And an honor of being alive. Pleasure. Stand, guys.
I was like, absolutely. I know how to get in touch with you and you got, I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay involved.
I also.
We did a lot. I mean,
That's about it.
we did our housing element,
Minimum.
knockdown, drag out. So I'm happy to pass the ball.
There.
There's always some.
Yeah, hopefully I'm gonna find no answer next week.
Don't know why.
It's so easy for people to explain everybody about. It's just like,
I'm like, I'm getting that.
the job in the area of social media has been.
I hope.
Yeah.
If not, I'll. And then get me in there. Things.
I
won't. County parks. More uses of the county parks from the events.
I need to meet a park.
And that's something like I could help facilitate some of the fees. For the bigger park, for the state regional park. You.
I think.
This is worth it.
Myself.
When I was doing an event, bought those skis, that's when they came out, you know, like you get it. I thought, oh, this is a joke. But I go, and I want you to know I made these cookies.
To the door.
He said it was.
You're talking.
I have.
It's not gonna.
Say some of the stuff for you do like counting things.
So you're making a joke and they thought you were serious?
And I'm more than happy to help with that and stuff like that, because I know a lot of outdoors are very bad things.
They hear you.
I got you.
Watching my boy out of my way.
All right. We're gonna get started again, because, we're pretty much on time right now. Okay, so, our next, presentation is the South Bay Fiber Network, plans for the future.
And it says that Wally and Jake are gonna do this, but actually I'm gonna do this. If our new, I don't know where he is.
Sorry.
There you are, okay. Wait a minute,
We're having cake.
I was just lounging, having
I'm not calling you yet.
Yeah, eat your cake. She's not calling you yet.
Okay,
Go back there.
so I wanted to start off by telling you about where we are with the fiber network. Our fiber network, as you know, the history of it is we started in 2016 and looked at what kind of fiber there was in the South Bay, what kind of service we had. And we realized we needed, in order to be ready for the 21st century, we really needed to do something. So we worked with South Bay WIB, actually, which helped us. It's really bothering me that Chris Pinmantel should be sitting up at the table.
He wants to sit here.
So-
Chris.
There's a chair right there.
John see me in a bike lane, I don't get mad at it.
So, okay, so so what happened was we entered into in 2019, I think it was, we entered into a contract with American Dark Fiber, and we created a public-private partnership, 115-mile backbone of fiber, 80% of which was leased from Town Castle. And we were able to create what you see on that map, which we affectionately call the ring. It's it doesn't fit on here, but it's a ring that connects all of our city halls. And there's a ring structure, and then each city hall is connected to it. And it provides critical infrastructure, it's low cost, and it's high speed. The subscription started at least at 1 gigabyte for each city, and you could buy more. Now, what's interesting about that is that every single city except for Palos Verdes Estates and the Rolling Hills were getting, it saved money. Rolling Hills Estates and Palos Verdes Estates had like so little service, they were paying like $900 a month, but this was $1,000 a month. So each city got incredibly higher degree of service or much less cost. So we have 20 miles of the backbone was built and funded with our Measure M dollars. Thanks to, is he still here? Oh, yes, he is. Thanks to Council, Metro Board Member Butts, who helped us get that money. I'll never forget that meeting. And in 2019, we awarded that contract. The service provider, the internet service provider, which we affectionately call the ISP, was Race Communications, and they offered service levels at 1, 2, and 10 gigabits. And over time, we ended up with all of these different agencies. Besides the cities, we added the Beach Cities Health District, the Lundquist Biomedical Center, Workforce Investment Board, who got us started in this, put all 7 of their offices on it and saved a lot of money and got better service. Metro connected, South Bay Regional Communications connected, and also LA County Public Works in Alhambra. So it's an extensive network. We went fully bi-directional, which means we can go either way around the ring. August 2020, we were able to build it during COVID because it was considered a critical infrastructure. And now we have over 40 places that are on our ring. So what's happened? We had this public-private partnership, but Race did not grow partnership. And we have been very unhappy that we had our municipal and public agencies signed up and we were not growing. We were not just realizing the vision of what we thought we were getting into. So after an 18-month search, ADF negotiated with a replacement partner, RSG, and that's who's here today to talk to you. And RSG is coming in with a new concept for an ISP, which you'll hear about, called Woven. And it creates a new marketplace for competing ISPs so the internet can compete and you can get lower prices and better service. The presentation tonight will be from RSG and their CEO, is it?
Yeah.
CEO. I didn't know what your formal title is. Brent Grisdale, who is fast becoming a fixture at our office. And Woven, and that's Arcadis IBI, which is Mitch Taylor. And they're going to tell you about this. Now, the reason this is important is not only because it's important, but because in the purchase agreement that they will be signing for the assets of ADF, the COG has to approve of that purchase agreement. So we're not asking you to do that tonight. It's currently being finalized, but we're hoping to come to the December 9th steering committee board with a recommendation. And of course, we will be taking this to our legal counsel and everything else, but we do have to approve this purchase for it to go through. So I want you to listen to RSG tonight, learn about the service and ask as many questions as you want, because this is our time to really get you to understand the direction that we want to go in. Okay, so Brent, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jackie, and thank you to the South Bay Council of Cities or Cities Council. You know what.
Whatever.
You should know.
Put in your notes.
My name is Brent Grisdale, and yes, I'm the CEO of RSG Telecom. And I am here to discuss the plan to revitalize and expand the South Bay fiber network. Now, we're coming in with a concept, and we'll get into it in the slides, but I do want to start right away and say, this is what's called an open network concept. So RSG would be the network operator as a service. And what that means is I am not delivering ISP services or other services to the end clients. That's for the ISPs to do. What we're doing is building one network that everyone can access and compete on. So they're not doing redundant builds of fiber networks and or infrastructure. So this infrastructure connects cities, businesses, and communities in the South Bay region with reliable and high-speed internet connectivity. This is the foundation for the vision, and our goal is to build a future where digital access is ubiquitous and transformative for the region. So the vision for the South Bay fiber network. Our plan focuses on revitalizing and expanding this essential infrastructure to drive the region's digital economy. The South Bay fiber network currently serves as a backbone connecting cities, businesses, and communities across the region. However, we recognize the need to address service gaps and ensure equitable connectivity for all. Through strategic revitalization and expansion efforts, we will enhance the network's reliability, speed, and affordability. This will empower cities to connect communities and unlock new opportunities for economic growth and innovation. By investing in RSG, we aim to elevate the South Bay Fiber Network as a symbol of the region's commitment to a connected future. This collaborative effort will position the South Bay as a leader in smart city development and digital transformation. So this is a critical moment for South Bay's digital future. So let's address some of the challenges. The existing services provided to residents of South Bay face some technological limitations, and that hampers the delivery of high-speed and reliable connectivity. Many communities and businesses in the South Bay lack equitable access to the fiber network, and it widens the digital divide. So the growing need for advanced connectivity to power smart city initiatives, remote work, and emerging technology requires a network upgrade. Securing long-term sustainability funding to maintain and expand the network is crucial for its continued viability. Strengthening regional collaboration by integrating water, traffic, power, and telecom systems across member cities is essential for maximizing the network's potential. And by aligning this vision, we can drive innovation, enhance community services, and create a sustainable, connected future. So how do we revitalize and expand the South Bay Fiber Network? Well, let's address some of these challenges through an approach that empowers cities, connects communities, and fosters economic prosperity for the region. Revitalizing and expanding the South Bay Network. The commitment to revitalizing and expanding the South Bay Network will be through a holistic approach. It empowers cities, connects the communities, and fosters economic growth. First, we will engage with member cities to conduct a comprehensive needs assessment. By deeply understanding the unique priorities and requirements of each South Bay city, we can ensure the network aligns with their individual goals and supports their vision for the future. Secondly, we'll focus on digital equity expansion by connecting underserved communities and neighborhoods to the fiber network. We can bridge the digital divide and enhance access to high-speed internet for all residents, regardless of their geographic location or socioeconomic status. And finally, we'll work to attract ISPs to the network to support businesses by providing a world-class, reliable connectivity infrastructure. This will not only improve public services, but also drive economic development across the South Bay region. As we move forward with this revitalization effort, our team is committed to closely collaborating with member cities to create a unified network vision that will move South Bay into a new era. Woven by Arcadis. So what platform are we going to use? This is essentially the software that we're going to use to integrate all the cities and provide all of these great services. By building on the progress we've made in revitalizing and expanding the South Bay Fiber Network, the next step is to leverage a comprehensive network management system that will empower our communities with cutting-edge broadband solutions. Introducing Woven is a platform designed by Arcadis to integrate network design, operations, and customer engagement tools into a single system. The smart city capabilities and open access framework of Woven creates a competitive marketplace for internet service providers and fosters innovation and affordability. This will be a key enabler as we work to close the digital divide and build resilient, future-ready networks for the South Bay region. We'll be utilizing the Woven platform as the open access network management tool. By streamlining operations and fostering a competitive ISP marketplace, Woven will help us deliver reliable, scalable, and equitable broadband solutions to our communities. Looking ahead, we'll do a three-phase approach. We'll bring this vision to life, starting with aligning city strategies into a unified network plan and culminating in the expansion of network services to businesses and underserved areas. The Woven platform will be a critical component in ensuring the successful implementation of this roadmap. On this slide, I'm going to ask my friend Mitch to speak to it.
Thanks, Brent. So Mitch Taylor with Arcadis. I don't know if you know Arcadis. We're a global architecture and engineering practice. We are in about 70 countries, about 40,000 people. I work within what's called the intelligence practice, and my role is very specifically around fiber networks, and aligning with municipal agencies in North America is my focus. I've spent about the last 5 years with Arcadis focusing on solutions for communities. And really what I call, and there's many names for this stuff that are out there. So feel free to bring the questions afterwards. But my thoughts around this is converged networks and open access networks brought together is really the true utility that I believe in community. I think that it's very important that our communities own this critical infrastructure, just like we did with the electrical grids and the water systems that we developed over the generations. We're at a generational point in time with the money that is coming from the government agencies and all around the world and building this infrastructure. I have a strong belief, and Jackie and her team certainly knows I get on the soapbox about this a lot. Public money should stay in public hands. And what I've been talking with the group about is converging the networks to get as much efficiency through the different agencies within your organizations to create as much efficiency from the top down as a infrastructure. And this slide here sort of represents the intersection between what we call places, which are your buildings and infrastructure, your mobility systems, which is everything from transportation and intelligent mobility solutions, the intelligence, which is smart city solutions, and that could be anything from monitoring, et cetera, and resilience, which is a very big topic for all of us now, whether it's disaster preparedness or just water monitoring. Those all run on a critical infrastructure, and to date, they've all been done independently, which is a lot of inefficiency. So this network that I've been working with Brent now, and we've been working on for many years, and we're building in other parts of the North America as well, brings all of those solutions together, keeps it in public hands, but it keeps it as a ubiquitous, open access, converged network that everybody can use. I mean, the one great thing about fiber, it's infinite. So far, there's no limit to what can be done on a fiber network, and it's got a very long life cycle. So the true value of the network is the conduit in the ground and the fiber that's in it. Everything else, the bits and pieces on the end, it's irrelevant to me. It's really about that critical infrastructure that you can actually create your a connected community that provides as many efficient services as you possibly can. And that's what Arcadis does. We've got all of these services that do this, and many of your agencies probably work with us now, whether as IBI or Arcadis in the past. We're very entrenched in this market. Thank you.
He's way better at talking. And I'm way better at reading. You know why I'm reading? Because I want to make sure that I hit all the points, and then we're going to have an open discussion. And I just want to make sure that I don't forget anything. So here's some key points. We're going to develop a community connected. What's that?
Bless you.
Oh, bless you. Sorry. Bless you. It's
Loaded.
It's a
Loaded.
So some key points. We want to develop a connected community master plan, right? There's 16 cities. Everybody's got their own individual community plan. How do we integrate that plan together? Let's talk to everybody and figure out what they're doing. That's the first thing we're doing. Then we're going to implement enhanced services for the city. So if you join the network and we come to an agreement of working together, that's going to be awesome. We're going to be able to expand this network, and we're going to be able to do some really great things. And there's a lot of funding that is available in different unique little ways to keep the network expanding. And then these services will include, of course, the high-speed fiber network. So why this partnership matters to South Bay cities. I think Jackie did a great job of sort of saying why. There's the vision and phased approach outlined in the previous slides. It improves city services. Let's make the network enable faster, more reliable connectivity for government operations, economic growth by providing a robust high-speed digital backbone. enhance community access, the network will bridge the digital divide, and cost savings. When we have one network that everybody can share, and that is all of the ISPs, I'll try to sign up as many as I can. Because they're all in, as I understand it right now, they're all in different areas where they have sort of one market, but they're not in, say, 13 of the other cities. You know, when you have one network that you can open up to everybody, it allows everybody to compete. And when everybody competes on a good fiber network, it drives costs down, but it also creates efficiencies that allows for a larger margin for the ISPs. And it's sustainable, right? As Mitch was saying, a fiber network lasts a very long time. And they're still going off of networks that they put in the ground in the 70s on fiber. And that wasn't very good fiber. That was like at the beginning. So why are we the right partner? Well, we're the right partner because we're not vested in the competitive landscape of the ISP market. The market that we're going to provide is that middle mile market where you build the network and then you provide the services. For those that don't know how the fiber network works in the world, you start with big transport fiber. That big transport fiber goes across transatlantic, trans-Pacific. You know, those fiber cables are massive. You know what? Not one ISP owns those cables, right? Those are owned by corporations that specialize in transatlantic fiber and provide services to all of the different competitive networks that want to go on it or are working for transporting services from government to private companies. Then you have what comes into data centers. And from the data centers, you have this middle mile network, right? That transport, I said transatlantic, but it's also transcontinental. And, you know, the fiber networks go from Seattle to LA or Chicago, and there's this connected hub around how everything goes. So if one connection is gone, there's a redundancy to go somewhere else. And that comes into all of these data centers that are located across the country. And from the data centers, you have what's called the middle mile network. And the middle mile network is, you know, something Crown Castle would build, or traditionally in the past, AT&T or some of the other telecom providers, and they would provide that service to their customers only, right? But they would build that middle mile infrastructure. And that middle mile infrastructure then goes to the home, which is fondly referred to in our industry now as FTTP, fiber to the premise. And the fiber to the premise, right? That's where they extend that network out. And then it goes to that router in your home. That router in your home typically may be provided by the ISP. When that router is provided by the ISP, you have a discongruent network of different providers providing different end devices. If we extend that device to the end and the fiber to the home as a ubiquitous same standard, everybody still competes over the ISP network. But because that network is connected, it allows for you to roam around your city while staying connected on the Wi-Fi network because each home has the same device in it. And it's managed by the same service provider. And that would be my role, right? And I would be the one to make sure that the network stays up without favor for anyone, to make sure that everybody gets the same access, the same white glove service for the delivery of that fiber network staying up. So we have the experience to do this. We've done this in 2 communities, and we just won a very large award in Oregon to build an open network as well. This is something that we've worked with Arcadis on for 4 years to build the infrastructure and a company to be able to manage this. We have a network operating center. We have the expertise to deliver these services. We're committed to this agnostic approach, and we're committed to this network being owned by South Bay Fiber, not by RSG Telecom. So we want to make sure that the assets that are purchased, the builds that are done, stay in the community's hands. And that we, in exchange for our work, we just do the long-term management of the network. That's the contract we look for. And we're obviously committed to working with you closely. So everybody's going to have a slightly different plan. We can implement that That's what the beautiful thing about the woven system is it has that ability to integrate. So, well, we talked about what we need from the board already, right? We need the approval of the sale of South Bay Fiber Networks from the assets from ADF to RSG. I will tell you, ADF has been really great to work with. This is something that they want to see happen, and we get along great, and I look forward to working with ADF in the future as well. The consent to the transfer of the master service agreement, or, and I've struggled with this word, the ARMSA. Did I say it right?
Yes.
The Regional Master Service Agreement. I just know them as MSAs, right? That will just make this a nice, smooth transition of what's already existing. The difference right now would be ADF manages the network and they manage it for the delivery of one ISP, Race Communications. That doesn't mean I'm going to look at trying to get Race off of the network. I hope they stay on the network, but they're not in a position where they're motivated to deliver and expand the services. And that's something that we want to do. So together we could build a vibrant, connected South Bay network. And I'm very excited about it. I've worked very hard to get here and I'm really, really happy to meet all of you. So with that, what would you like to know? Oh, last thing. This is a philosophical discussion about, you know, our philosophy going forward. We've met with all your IT managers on the technical sides of things. And we're happy to have a discussion with the technical deep dive if you want later, but I would prefer if we could keep it at a more philosophical level of questioning. So what would you like to know?
Jackie.
Hi.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
When do you expect this coming back to the board?
We have to wait for the purchasing agreement to be ready. And so that would, and it has to go to the lawyer, but December 9th or January.
I know for my city, I'd want this to go through city staff first.
And he neglected to say, we presented this to the IT directors. And we also presented it to Mark Henderson, who's an IT person. He's one of your colleagues. And so we are presenting it to IT directors, and Brent is going to be setting up meetings with IT people.
They're both excited about this after hearing the presentation.
Well, thank you. That's great to hear.
Yes.
So I know from a lot of my work that we have some dead zones just sprinkled all over the region. And it might be as small as, for commercial area, it might be as small as 1 or 2 buildings or a small industrial center. And it can even be fairly new construction where there's, you know, nobody wants to pay for that connection because whoever has to do that, you know, that's the big expense and the property owner doesn't want to do it. And then the businesses want to go first because they're going to have to eat that big expense. And then for anybody to connect from that point is trivial. But anyway, I don't think this is at the big philosophical level you were mentioning, but it's, to me, it's a big issue that we have, and that we have these dead spots just, again, sprinkled all over our region in places that most of us would be shocked to know that there's no broadband at these locations.
So we are well aware of those situations that exist in the area, in the South Bay cities. So let me back up one step and say, if you're a private ISP and you get a 30 to 40% market share on your network, you're thrilled, right? It's a good market share to have. Well, our goal is, because we will be the network operator, we want to get utilization is the most important thing. And utilization creates revenue. So as an example, I think there's something like 440 government buildings that could be connected to the network. When you connect those buildings and everybody commits to doing that, that generates revenue for the South Bay network that allows the network to have money to put back into building out on the network. The second thing is that we really focus on leveraging multiple layers of grants. We do that in several ways. When we did the presentation to Oregon, I think I listed off, or to your technical guys, I think I listed off in Oregon, there was like 13 different strategies for getting grants for fiber networks. Excuse me. So, you know, if we're close to an endpoint, we can apply for an extension with the government, the California government. There's federal governments, you come on in. I know you're really good at this, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there is lots of access for cash in this now. And of course, the best place for you as the network owners is to access as much grant money as possible. What Brent is alluding to with respect to the business model for the investment in networks has changed significantly over even just the last, I would say, 18 months, not even 2 years. Traditional telecommunications has invested in assets. They get them a return within 7 years, most of the time 5 years. Now, with venture funds, a 20 to 30 year return on investment. So there's a lot of different access to cash from either it's a free P or grant funded or privately invested network expansion. That's really changed the world for these networks. And again, like I said before, there's a really unique opportunity now for communities to own a lot of this infrastructure themselves and build off that. I mean, certainly you want to have partners like RSG as operators, because you're not in the business of telecommunications. And the most important thing is that you have a carrier grade network that everybody can use. So it's a ubiquitous network that it gives access to all types of services. It's important that you stay on that focus, but you look at all of the different avenues to access ways to pay for that generational infrastructure. And you know, it's a layered effect. And what I focus on for communities I work on is getting the middle mile built by the community. So the middle mile being, like Brent was saying, to the outside edges of the network, not addressing the homes, not addressing the retail services. If the communities can own that anchor technology, then they get to control not only what the cost of services are to the community, but they actually give access to those other parties. Now, if you want to get into last mile, that's great too. We've got ways to do that as well. And there are funds out there right now that you can access to do that, especially in the underserved areas. But to partner with the big investment funds, and they are the big investment funds that are jumping on this right now. I mean, BlackRock last year announced a massive investment in a group that AT&T shared off. It's called, oh my gosh, what's it called?
I don't know.
Sorry, Gigapower. No, it's not Gigapower.
Something like that.
Something like that anyway, that are building these networks for communities. The Georgia DOT is doing the same with Plenary. We partner with Plenary, in fact. So when I talk about this project and this opportunity, I have talked with Plenary and they're interested in investing in this type of community. They're doing it just north of us in LA County now, in other cities. There is appetite for these types of investments here. My goal, though, working with this team and Jackie and her team, is about getting as much of it in the community hands as possible, because that really controls the future of, you know, this stuff. And it's critical. It's critical infrastructure. You know, we talk about like disaster preparedness. As we were just talking in the meeting here earlier this week about over in South Carolina, when the hurricanes came through and took out all of the telecommunication services. The first thing that came up was broadband network. And all of a sudden, their broadband supplier, they turned it around, gave it all to emergency services first. So they had emergency services turned up before the cell phone companies could get their towers back up. It's important. It's important infrastructure now. So,
and one of the key things there was that those devices in the home were all the same.
Yeah.
So when they turned it up and turned that over to the emergency services, it was a ubiquitous access throughout because they weren't going from one carrier to the other carrier. They were going from the same infrastructure to the same infrastructure.
And
So-
even what we saw happen in Hawaii there, I mean, that another terrible disaster that could have been maybe not resolved, but mitigated if they had a multi-functional communication system that allows for, some preparedness in this. So it's a very hot topic in telecommunication industry overall. There's a lot of change going on. Divestiture out of major assets for the big guys, not just in this country, but around the world, getting specialized ownership to owning the networks, communities owning more networks, governments owning more network, and getting back to more of an infrastructure ownership perspective. So certainly the concept of what we're talking about here is a little cutting edge, but it's one step at a time. Certainly appreciate it.
Now, during the presentation, everything looks great, but I didn't hear nothing about security, right?
Yes,
Security.
very important question.
Yeah, and also we brought North Carolina.
Yes.
What's the future be the fiber network when you have the Starlink from Elon Musk?
That's a great question. I mean, Starlink is it's a fantastic solution as well. Problem with Starlink, and be careful what I say here. So-
God, he's from Hawthorne. You have to look at
Yeah, so, two things about Starlink. I think it's a fantastic solution, except it's a little solution. It will never be a big solution. It just will never have capacity for what the planet requires now. And the moment you have a disaster situation like that, everybody goes there and it doesn't work. Because that's all there is. Like its capacity is like, he talks about, 30,000 or more satellites in the year. But if you do the actual calculations, I think each satellite is good for, 15,000 users at any given time. And if you take those 15,000 users of the place in the planet they are, you run out of people pretty quickly.
Could I interject one thing?
Yeah.
One thing that's really important when it comes to networks is redundancy. And if everybody depends on one big system, then everybody fails with the one big system. That's why when Becky and the COG came to me when I was the chair, we got Metro Transit programs, transit monies programmed for this under the rubric that it would allow people to telecommute. But what happened, what we got out of this is we get our own redundant system. We have our own network in Inglewood, but to be tapped in this too gives us double redundancy. So I would never depend on one big massive network for the country. That's crazy.
Security. So I just actually was at a conference this previous weekend. And it was a security conference. So I asked a lot of questions about what owning or managing South Bay networks. Where could I put some of the security that they were describing at the corporate presence? So Red Canary is like a really great security, spoken very highly. I'm not like really good at security, so that was really exciting for me to go. I have some friends that were very knowledgeable, but my question to them was, can I put Red Canary actually at the egress out of my network so that it acts as that one stop before it goes to the private businesses? And I can just put it at the very front end for two reasons, because it eliminates a lot of the threats before they even get on the network. And second, it takes a lot of capacity that was being used on the network by, there's like threats, but the actual capacity that they use, right, is like 30-40%. You can take it off that network and then you have a faster allocated network because you have more bandwidth because you've already taken it on. There's another software called Island. It is a like Chrome or Bing. And they don't do advertising. They charge $130 a month. And again, I said to them, that's a fantastic security system. I could roll that just into the monthly fee, right? It's if $120, sure, it's $120, but what if we bring, 20,000 people? What is it, right? Like, let's talk about scale. And it's an amazing system. So one of the things that I'm very concerned about is security. The other one was a really great system, did phishing exercises. So they actually have a system where they try to trick you and then they teach you how they're trying to trick you, right? So that, and you move up your grade system as you become more and more sophisticated about what mail to open and that type of thing. So yeah, of course, there's only so much that you can do, right? But when you're the network operator, you have one system for the security, right? So.
And I want to add to that. I was at a conference about a month ago, and it was around digital security. And in fact, a lot of it was about the state-sponsored hacking coming out of Russia and North Korea. And it's serious. We're talking serious amounts of money now. We're in the billions of dollars, every month that are flowing out of this country through the state sponsored hacking institutions. And through that, I met with Homeland Security and talking about what they're doing, on it, and the team that's working on that as well. And really, the core network stuff is where this needs to be managed the most. I mean, certainly at the end of the line, the IT directors, your IT directors, it's all very focused on that. But where the real impact in this stuff can happen is like what Brent is saying, is at the egress points. We should just choke off that stuff right up front. That's the real future for that. So there's a lot of effort being put into that.
Hacking is currently the third largest industry in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane how much is going on. And it's not what we would think in this room. It's not what we would think it would be. Most people would think that they're going after, big organizations and getting big amounts of money. Right now, the biggest targets is the elderly population. It's insane. And it's small amounts of money, but they're just doing an incredible, yeah, it's really, really sad. But I can tell you that the new technology that's coming out in that space is phenomenal. Not only that, you've got a lot more technology that's coming out about protecting our children. That's a really important place as well. It's complicated, but we've got like cyberbullying. We've got all sorts of technology coming out around that stuff now.
Can you use that anti-cyberbullying on the public?
Yes. Yes, you can. Absolutely. I mean, I know you're joking. I know, you're absolutely joking, but you can. And I mean, it's no good, but it's true. Like it's all, a lot of it's AI backed, of course.
Well, we actually heard that in Austin, they had AI imposters that were invading their council meetings in public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was just crazy.
So one of the things they're doing now at the CEO level of these large companies is they have a code word that they are using whenever they call somebody in the company. They have a code word that it's them, because AI is so good at actually calling and sounding like you that if they don't do the code word, you would never know it's not them.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's for sure.
It's crazy.
Okay, we're gonna take one last question because we're.
Well, it's just a comment actually to move on, to kind of move on. I guess my thought would be, this isn't a slam dunk. It's at least for me, fairly new topic. You got to make sure that staff, so I would encourage us to, you're talking about since we're normally dark in December, you're talking about trying to put through this contract in the MSA at a special meeting, which is in the middle of the day on a Monday. That's normally a steering committee meeting. I gotta say, I think we need to to me, it's not a slam dunk. I think we need to slow down and really move it to a full board meeting in January. And I know that's not ideal from timing, but I thought I was hearing you say you wanted this to be resolved by December 9th, and I just don't see it.
You have to, we can do it in January. You have to understand that for those of us on the team, we've been doing this for 18 months, so every day seems like it.
I'm sure it does, but for the end user.
I understand.
Brand new
I can.
thing, and I can't get anyone from my city, any of the staff to say that they have any clue what's happening.
Yeah, well, I talked to the city managers yesterday about it a little bit.
So
I'd
it's,
like, if we, yeah, it's all.
It's new.
It's all new.
We need to
because I
slow
wasn't
down.
gonna bring anything to you that I didn't think wasn't ready, wasn't baked yet, and this looks like it's baked. So I guess my question to you is, if we were to go into January, would you want to have a special, I mean, like we did with the Inglewood thing, do you want any kind of special meeting to ask
You don't want to do the
questions?
Inglewood thing.
No, do you, I mean, would you like us to have some kind of an opportunity where you can come in and ask questions?
But it's part of the regular meeting.
Or, yeah, or do it as part of the regular meeting or a special meeting, so.
I think it could be done in the regular meeting.
I think it'd be done in a regular meeting, so long as we get our staffs to
Yeah.
be able to weigh in on this to help advise us and
Mhm.
inform us before we vote on it.
And they're hearing about it and we'll roll it out. And I'm gonna invite them to come to the January 15th city managers
I was
meeting.
just gonna say, do you have a city managers and or public works
have-
meeting where,
We have both
okay,
of them coming up.
before our next meeting? Yes, I would recommend that.
And two,
I definitely would like to see things go back to an more conventional methodology where our people report to us as opposed to going around through the executive director, because we're the ones with the responsibility to give constructive input. And so to tell us that something is baked, I think is quite premature. And I have not had this discussion with our IT people either. So I would agree with you.
Okay, yeah.
Let me clarify when I say baked, there was another possible owner that backed out. We were not gonna bring anything to you till we knew we had a serious owner. Obviously, the board has to make that decision, but there were things that intervened, and I wasn't just gonna bother you guys with all of these things that have been happening.
right, and make sure you contact your IT people and those that are involved in this, because they have met, they have already discussed it. And they should have some kind of an idea of what this program would do for you and if it's actually something they want to buy into.
Can we know which IT people was on that meeting?
I was like, yeah, I don't have any, so there you go. I'll have to find the player to name later.
It's a recorded meeting.
Yeah, what cities were at the meeting? Josh was not there.
Or Joshua?
We outsource that. I
So
should.
that's
I mean, they were all invited, but I know Josh was not there. And that's one reason why Brent is gonna go meet with people, because we want to sit in there, we want to sit in your offices and really find out what's going on in each city and what this is all about.
Well, it's about participation, right? So everybody has their own plan. And I acknowledge, that's a course, and this will work with, I don't know how many cities to start with, right?
Yeah. And the reason I asked for the security, because we did have a bridge on one of the big agencies in Hawthorne. I'm not mentioning who it was. But it was, even they had the best security system, but it was bridge, so.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't blame anybody for getting breached.
So I think this is really, I mean, I think it's helpful. If you have questions, please send them to us and we will get them to Brent and to Mitch. And we will schedule them for meetings with the staff during the month and bring it back in January.
Can we get an electronic copy of the presentation?
They're always up on the website after the meeting. But if you want us, we can send it out tomorrow
Is
too.
there anything like a staff report that you provided to the city managers and the IT people when you?
Oh,
When I talk to city managers, it's always oral.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're gonna move on. So program action items?
Kim, you're next.
I'll text you when I'm leaving.
Yes, so
Bye-bye.
hold on one second here. So a couple of updates and then I have an action item for the group to consider. So first of all, I wanted to remind you that we're having our energy awards on and sustainability awards on December 4th. And that is in the city of Gardena. It starts at 11. We'll have lunch. And we have RSVPs up to 80 now. We would love to see everybody there to celebrate all the work that your staff has done. Also, some of you heard this at the steering committee meeting, but we were able to have LA County sanitation districts join the SoCal REN program. So now they can do improvements within their facilities that are in your cities. So that's exciting also. We talked a little bit about the governor's efforts to reduce the ratepayer fees that support all of our energy efficiency programs. And so there was an executive order signed by the governor in 5/24, and it's been framed as affordability crisis. And so they sent a directive to the CPUC to do an evaluation and to come back and to talk about cost effectiveness of energy efficiency programs. So we might see some cuts to our programs, but we are working on trying to secure funding so that we can do all of the projects that we've identified through our facility equipment inventory, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done for the cities. So that's going on. And then, okay, so then any questions on that? And then I'll move to the Greg Stevens item.
Would it be possible if you could move to the Metro report? I'm supposed to be somewhere at 8. Is that possible, Madam Chair?
I move to reorder the agenda.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I really appreciate that.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so a couple themes. This November, December, all we talked about were a couple subcommittees, and the biggest thing to come out of it is a revised Proposition A allocation 5% of Prop A, 40% incentive guidelines to amend the existing agreements between Metro and local transit operators. So what does that mean? Basically, if you have a big group bus, we can pay you more money because you lost money during COVID. The other big thing is that I think a few of us were present at Dominguez Hills a little while ago. And so here's the outcome of that. The Inglewood Transit Connector, we had secured approximately 80% of the funds that were needed, and we have selected a best value proposer. And at the infamous meeting at Dominguez, we weren't able to secure enough support to get the rest of the money from self-pay funds. And I want to thank everybody for listening and considering whether you voted for it or not. It was, you're all appreciated. And while this delays the city's ability to advance our project on our previously projected schedule, I and the city remain steadfast in our commitment to address the first and last mile gap of our regional transit system to better serve not only the citizens of Inglewood, but for the South Bay. And so right now we're engaging our best value proposer, our grantor agencies for the $2 billion that we still have authorized, and our transit partners, along with other city stakeholders. And we're on a path to figure out one of 3 different options that will work within the funding that we have allocated. And so I just wanted to give you that little update and tell you that we're still here. And thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Mayor Butts, please don't leave yet, because we want to talk about the next item, which is the Gardena request. And I think it's really important.
We can do that. We can do that one.
Voted for that first.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we're on transportation.
Yeah, no, I did, but I didn't know if he was going to leave, and I want to make sure he hears this.
Okay.
David, do you want to talk about the Gardena? This is also an action item.
Sure. So this came up with our annual one-on-one meetings, and I'm going to keep this quick. The city of Gardena was awarded additional funds for one of their projects, a Measure R project, in 2023. And they've been waiting on a funding agreement from Metro since then. What that has led to is cost increases because of the delay in being able to get started on the project. And so the item tonight is a request for additional funds to be included in the Metro January action so that they can go out to bid with the project in February, March, early next year. As opposed to having to wait until next June with additional cost increases by that extra time.
Move the item.
Oh, no, I want to explain something first. Oh,
Been moved and seconded.
How much is additional fund?
that's $500,000, and the $500,000 is, we met in March with Metro staff to tell them that these funding agreements were taking too long. We didn't know about this. We just found out about this, and it's costing our collective COG $500,000 because Metro didn't sign the funding agreement. And so what I did was, when I got this from David, I contacted Metro staff and I said, we can't act on this unless you give us a commitment that you're going to actually sign this funding agreement, because we're not going to come back in another 6 months with another $500,000. And they have said that they will expedite the funding agreement. If Gardena expedites the funding agreement, Gardena has said they would expedite it. But this is not an isolated case. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention and to the mayor's attention, because this is going to cost us $500,000 if you approve it.
Motion by Mayor Buds, who was the second?
Mr. Chair, just one more quick question. What is the project? What is the total budget?
Okay, so it's an upgrade of traffic signals on two of our major streets that run along Vermont Avenue. So it's Rosecrans and Redondo Beach Boulevard. It's a total upgrade of the.
Second.
How many,
No, it's already been seconded.
how many miles? How many miles on each or total?
I like that.
It's actually intersection.
Just intersection.
It's intersection.
Yeah, it's not a corridor, it's actual intersections that they're up.
So there's two intersections
Two intersections, yeah.
and it's synchronizing the lights, or?
Upgrading the equipment,
And the total project cost?
2.7?
today it's 2.7. It was originally 1.5.
Five, wow.
Ouch. Dang.
Well, if we wait a little while, no. So I guess we need to vote.
Okay, so, okay.
Thank you.
Seen it as hand.
One comment. I think this is something we're gonna see frequently, whether it's because of design comes in at one cost, by the time we get to funding and the application into the COG, the cost is gonna go up. So, what was clear from Inglewood's demonstration, presentation is there's plenty of transportation dollars coming to the COG. So I think we should kind of, as of right, kind of roll these out to the cities when they need a little more money to get the project across the finish line.
I guess I'm not recommending that you don't approve it. I'm just recommending that you recognize that this is completely unintended consequences of bureaucrats not signing
Yeah, I
documents.
know, I appreciate
Hey, no, let's not be bad on bureaucrats.
I'm a bureaucrat.
I was a bureaucrat for 37 years.
There's a motion and a second. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Make it so.
Gardena, thanks you.
And I will discuss this with the CEO in my Monday meeting.
Thank you. Okay,
Right back to you.
let's go back. Let's go back.
Okay, all right.
So if you remember that we have two funding sources that fund our energy efficiency work. One is the SoCal Gas and the other is SoCal Ren. We've done our facility equipment inventory. We have a huge list of equipment that needs to be replaced. And what we'd like to do is give cities options for that replacement. One option is a like for like equipment replacement. So like if you have an air conditioning unit, you would be able to see a like for like replacement that would save you energy and money. The other option is to do a fuel replacement where you would move from electricity. We don't have enough funds in either one of those particular contracts to cover the full analysis of this work. But we have agreement from both of those organizations to fund portions of it. So what you have before you today is the portion that would be covered under SoCal Gas. Because what happens is the COG will actually hire Greg Stevens, which is an energy engineer. He's worked for many of your cities and continues to work for your cities. He is already under contract with the SoCal Ren, doing part of this analysis. And so what I'm asking for today is approval for him to have a contract with the COG, and it will be passed through where we will be reimbursed by SoCal Gas. Is that complicated? Yes.
Just a quick question. So the incentive is to go from electric to gas?
So it will be two analysis. One will be to go electric from gas,
which will be covered under the SoCal RIN, and the other is to like for like. So if it's electric already, a like piece of equipment that would be electric, and that will happen under the gas contract.
I thought there was an incentive to go from gas to electric.
Sometimes there is, and that will be part of the analysis, so that the
Lot of
cities will
incentive.
have options. Yeah, so the cities will have options.
Is there an incentive for like not having one, getting one?
And just having the old, no, it costs you money. The amount that we're asking for is $8,910 for approval. And we'd like to get started on the
So moved.
contract.
Second, been moved and seconded.
Any opposition? Any abstention? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time.
I'm done.
Johnson.
Bronson.
All right, good evening, everyone. Share my screen. A lot going on in homeless services and senior services. All right, so the first up was we had a climate resiliency meeting. Mayor Bass, Supervisor Barger, and the Raman Valley Council member. They're kind of going around all the different COGs to do a roadshow about climate resiliency centers. They're really pushing regions to create more climate resiliency centers. And we had a great discussion on October 28th about climate resiliency centers. These are the people we invited in your cities: police and fire, public works, parks and rec. There's people that have a stake in climate resiliency centers. As we know, our climate's becoming more and more unprotectable. And so we think this touches a lot of different city departments. What is a climate resiliency center? What was cool about our COG was that we actually have done a lot of work in this area. And so we were able to make a presentation on this, and the mayor and the supervisor were both really impressed. But it includes a lot of different things. So it's a cooling center, it's a resiliency hub. It's someone that it's a place where people can go when there's wildfire or extreme smoke, extreme heat. It's a mobility hub. It's a place where people can, gather, and a place to go to get out of the elements. It's a digital access center so that we can communicate with each other when there's time of disaster, as this gentleman with the fiber network we're talking about. And so all this is a climate resiliency center that we're looking to create.
Let me interrupt you. I wanted to just say that also this week, we've learned that that we've been talking to people about using centers like this, or even your city halls, for viewing centers for some of the Olympic events, for example. We can be, and if you're interested in that in any of your facilities, of course, you're connected by fiber. So we can always bring in these Olympic events or the FIFA events or anything, and create these neighborhood centers as viewing centers for your residents.
Right. And we also shared our vision of how this potentially could look like, where we merge the South Bay Fiber Network, our local travel network, and then these resiliency centers. This is just like a potential mock-up of how it would look like. So next steps, we're looking to send out surveys to all the attendees to ask about whether they think they need a climate resiliency center in their city, if there's any areas or land or buildings that could serve as climate resiliency centers. So that'll be the ask for you all and your cities, is to see if this is something that we can create in our cities. And we're also going to be looking at Caltrans properties as well.
Good.
How are these different from like a cooling center, like the cooling centers that we have in Torrance during hot days?
Yeah, I mean, typically cooling centers can be located like in libraries and things like that. So what we want is an all-encompassing place where they can maybe also habitat, live for a short time in those centers. So, we can bring out cots. If there's like a fire or a landslide, things like that, where we can temporarily place people as well. And then we also want to bring in all the other stuff too, like I said, the digital, the transportation, the communication stuff too.
Okay, like the Red Cross or just a separate system completely. Like we had an apartment building fire, and we used our Toyota meeting hall as a Red Cross sleeping area, so the people that were displaced were put in there. Would that be in conjunction with other types of emergency, or just?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's actually a good point. We actually just had a fire yesterday, and we had a family of 9 that we didn't have a place. So, and then we called the Red Cross and didn't have a place either. They were full. And so this would be perfect for something like that.
But I think that also each neighborhood center will be different as to as how much space there is and, you know, what the community wants out of it. So it can be this.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily, but it can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the main question, is it gonna be working in conjunction with other organizations, not just be a standalone organization or program where, you know, other organizations can tap into, whether it's the Red Cross or Salvation Army, whatever else.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. Yes. Good question.
To the chair, Roger, maybe you should contact Hawthorne quickly because we are going to redesign our senior center.
Oh, okay.
So so we already approved the bid and everything, so they're going to start, they'll redesign the senior center right there next to the community center. So we got all the money, so everything is going to doing a lot of stuff with that, completely new.
Okay, I'll reach out to
Yeah, talk to Kwana Bowie.
Okay.
She's the director of the community service.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that. Other interesting news, the 1 week after election, district attorney, the newly elected district attorney, Nathan Hockman, came to the Beach Cities area and visited the homeless court. It was surprising to kind of see him just, you know, 1 week after election. One of the first things he did was come to our area, which is great. He immediately sent out a tweet and he said the innovative homeless courts like those being run in Redondo Beach and Hermosa Beach are part of the solution of holding individuals accountable for their criminal actions, but finding a punishment proportional to the crime in person. So it was great to see that he's, you know, not only is going to be tough on crime, but is also forward thinking enough to consider other solutions on crime. And then last but not least, we had a terrific Functional Zero event attended by many of you. Thanks for coming. And Bernadette was gracious to be our MC for the event. We had tons of great people come out. The picture in the bottom left, those are Gavin Newsom's deputies. Vashesh on the left, he is actually our representative for Gavin Newsom. And Hafsa is the senior deputy of homeless services for Gavin Newsom. And then, you know, we had Torrance Viet was there, and Zola and Cinder from Inglewood. I wanted to turn it over to Colleen actually, because Colleen, well, I'll just let her kind of give her spiel on the media and the press of the event.
So one of the things we get excited about in communications is what we call a media home run. And while the Dodgers were celebrating their World Series, we had our own media home run with the Functional Zero event. And back in July, we connected with Doug Smith, who covers homelessness for the LA Times. And he reached out to us because he was interested in doing a story about the pledge that we were working on with our cities, which wasn't ready to roll out at that time. So that was a lot associated with the grants pass ruling. And so we leveraged that conversation and we pitched him on an exclusive about our Functional Zero story. And in media relations, you have to have some patience because the story didn't post until October 29. It actually turned out to be perfect timing because it was the day before our event and it created some buzz around our event, which was the next day. And so we had a front page story, which also ran on the 31st. So we were really excited about that. And then, so we pitched the local media to attend the event, and we had 7 local media outlets show up. We had KTLA, KCALS, KCBS, ABC7, Telemundo, Spectrum News, KFI Radio, KNX Radio. And go to the next slide, you can see busy running around, lining up interviews for all of the various officials that were there. So we wanted to show you an example of one of the clips that ABC did on the event.
In today's 7 on Your Side Solutions, Philip Palmer shows us how Redondo Beach has reached a milestone in its efforts.
Redondo Beach recently celebrated becoming the first city in the South Bay to reach Functional Zero street homelessness.
The goal for Functional Zero is to get people off the street within 90 days of their homelessness experience. And Redondo Beach can now get people off the streets within 14 days.
Redondo Beach was chosen by the South Bay City's Council of Governments to develop ways to reduce homelessness regionally. Almost 4 years ago, significant steps in that journey were taken with the Homeless Court, a once-a-month opportunity to address the city's petty crime problem. Since we showed you the court in 2020, 169 defendants have participated in Homeless Court. 74 are in permanent housing, 63 interim housing, and fewer than 2% have returned to court on new charges.
That is absolutely incredible. Sometimes when you drag your past along with you, you don't get that you don't feel like you get that second chance. But when you get that opportunity to make your life become this new thing, you want to leave the past behind. So expungement in the homeless court, that's what they give you. They give you the opportunity to start fresh.
Multiple funding streams provided Redondo Beach the opportunity to build pallet shelters, an effective tool for moving individuals from homelessness to stable housing. But success also came through the work of people like Valerie Campos, a housing navigator with Harbor Interface, once homeless herself, now a critical connection to others in similar situations.
When I go out there on the streets and pull people off the streets like how they did to me, I encourage, I'm there from beginning to the end when they move into their apartments and even after.
It took almost 7 years for the city to reach this milestone, but the work will also serve as a blueprint others can follow. 3 neighboring cities are already following in the footsteps of Redondo Beach.
I'm thrilled that we are on a path to functional zero as a county. And how do we get there? City by city, unincorporated community by unincorporated community, community by community. We can get there within 5 years.
We don't have to solve for the 75,000 people in LA County. Everyone just do your community and we'll be good.
Philip Palmer, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
It's a great. Great job.
Awesome. And is there anything else? Okay. So, but I just want to give a shout out to Colleen because it was like every day I was in her office strategizing and re-strategizing our communication strategy. It does take a lot of strategy, especially when the LA Times writer took forever to write the article. And then we were getting speakers coming in and out of our event. So we constantly had to update our media advisory and our press release. And really kudos. It's just great having someone with that experience on your side. And so I'm really glad the COG has a communications person to help me navigate that. So thank you, Colleen.
Thanks.
So where do we go from here? The next cities are Torrance, Manhattan Beach, and Hermosa Beach. Our kickoff meetings are on Monday. We have other priority areas like Hawthorne, Wilmington, West Athens, and really the rest of the South Bay. And so what we're looking to do is we're going to create a playbook for cities to follow. So they don't have to wait on me. If they want to get started on functional zero, they can. It's really simple. It's really just creating a by names list and knocking out the by names list one by one. And that's really the secret sauce. And so you don't have to wait on me to do that. And so we're going to teach cities on how to get started, and we'll provide technical expertise on it. We're also getting phone calls because of the press from San Jose, Campbell, Santa Barbara, Goleta, and they're trying to figure out how they can do it as well. So it's been great to kind of share thoughts and ideas. And then, in the clip, I was talking about how we can do it community by community. And that's really important because one of the things people might scoff at is, well, Redondo Beach at 261 people, 75,000 in the county. What's the big deal? And the idea is that if you took the 88 cities and just put LA City and Long Beach aside, on average, the 86 cities has 120 people on the streets. So Redondo Beach started with almost double of that. And then in the unincorporated areas, about 56 on average. And even LA City, if you bring that back into the conversation, communities like Westwood, Palm, San Pedro, on average, they have 284 people on the street. So these are big numbers. And so that's the idea. If these communities just took care of their own homelessness problem, we would be at functional zero LA County. And I think that's the right approach to take versus this top-down approach that we've been doing for so long. And so, so that's that on functional zero. We're going to talk more about it at our homeless task force meeting, which has now been moved to December 11th. We're also going to talk about Measure A that passed as well. And then the gentleman mentioned that, people are scamming our seniors, and we're seeing that, and it's an epidemic. It's really bad. And so we're gonna have in our senior services group, we're gonna talk about what happens post-scam. What can we do to help our seniors after they've been scammed? Or if we have seniors that are susceptible to scams, what do we do? There's been a lot about how to identify scams, but unfortunately, a lot of seniors are still falling into that trap. And so we're gonna do that. We're also gonna introduce Aaron Baum into the senior services working group. He is a fellow senior project manager, and he's going to help me with the senior services working group going forward. So really excited about that.
Thank you.
So you're probably overloaded with all of the COG is doing, but there is more. Jake is going to tell you about a new grant that we just got.
Yes, the COG recently was awarded a grant through the Department of Transportation's Safe Streets for All planning grant. And what this grant allows us to do is, you may recall, in July, we requested letters of support for this grant to develop a micromobility safety action plan. And now that we've been awarded, we'll be pursuing this. And this has 3 components to it. It's the first is a school's sticker program template, which I believe Ann and I briefed the board and the steering committee on in past months. And just to refresh what this is it requires all students, if they want to ride their e-bike, e-scooter, even regular bike to campus and park it on campus, they have to go through a certified safety course, and then they receive a registration sticker on their vehicle. Then it's in a sense a license without the DMV having any regulation on these type of vehicles. So that's initiative 1. Initiative 2 is we'll be hosting community safety showcase events. These are very similar to ride and drive events where we'll be inviting members of the community along with the vendors in the South Bay and hopefully some police departments to educate our residents and especially our students on how to safely operate these vehicles, what is the best fit when looking for a vehicle, and very importantly, educating the parents when they're getting these vehicles for their children, as most parents aren't even aware that there's 3 different classes of vehicle, and one of them is illegal in California for people under 16, and they're being purchased for middle schoolers, right? That's initiative 2. And then all of this accumulates into a South Bay micromobility safety action plan, which outlines strong strategies to increase safety with these vehicles, strategies including the 2 events or demonstration events I mentioned previously, but as well as where high collision corridors might be, or as they call high injury networks. So we have just been awarded that and we'll be continuing to work on it. We are also exploring a grant through Caltrans to do a parking assessment on destination parking for micromobility, where these vehicles are being taken and how we can optimize the parking to further incentivize the use of these vehicles, whether it's an NEV, a neighborhood electric vehicle, a e-scooter, or an e-bike. We really want our residents to be taking these vehicles instead of their internal combustion engine vehicles when you're going to a 1-mile trip within the South Bay. So that's what we're working on with the local travel network.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, then we're very proud that Jake actually wrote that grant, his very first grant, and it got awarded.
They got awarded.
I know. Yeah, right. So there's not much to say on the General Assembly other than we are getting sponsors and David and I are going to magically come up with a program pretty soon. But I wanted to mention opportunities to serve. We unfortunately lost another great council member, Eric Alegria, from Rancho Palos Verdes with their crazy term limits. And so Eric and so I want to bring to your attention, and I thought I would wait, unless somebody here is interested in these, I would wait for the newly elected members to come online. But Eric was the alternate for the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission, if anybody's interested in that. And he was also the delegate for the South Bay Association of Chambers of Commerce, which meets in this office on the first Tuesday of every month at 8:30 in the morning, and has a nice breakfast. And I think you can also zoom in, but yeah. So if anybody's interested in that,
Well,
speaking
a
of,
number of us already attend those meetings, so.
but I mean, as a COG, if you want to be the COG delegate, we have a delegate position.
I mean, I can. I'll be going to the meeting.
Congratulations.
Oh, perfect. Moving on.
So we also
Kristen
have an
McGill.
alternate position for Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission. Anybody's interested, please let me know. And and we'll send something out, probably maybe January, so we'll let the newly elected people have a chance. Okay. Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
That's it. Okay, so I heard something about, this is your last?
This is my last meeting too. So my term ends December 5th. I'll be replaced hopefully by Ray Jackson, who's been the alternate for a while, who many of you know, who's very good. If it's not somebody else, I'm gonna do my best to have somebody else who's just as good, but.
We appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Rodney. We've had excellent leadership on this board with you, with Cedric, who I think is gone, with John, with Drew, Jackie, Natalie, Ronson, David, everybody, the staff. You've been awesome. So, and I'm not going anywhere, so you'll see me.
Okay, and thank you. And then real quickly, don't forget the South Bay Energy Climate Recognition Luncheon on the 4th. Do you want to say anything about the 6th? About the
Oh,
Inglewood?
yeah. There's a meeting, and I wanted to say something about the 12th. I forgot all about, there's 2 other meetings I want to tell you about. The 6th is a bus ride with Dr. Lucy Jones. The earthquake expert in Southern California came to us and said she would like to take elected officials on a bus ride on the Inglewood Fault and tell you what a major quake would mean. We have we have room on the bus. It's for elected officials, but I know we have a fire chief coming and we have other people from your staff. If you think it's something they would be interested in. I did invite the newly elected council members today. I haven't heard from anybody, but so there is room if you're interested. And I think it should be a really interesting, it's from, I think, 10:30 to 2. And I don't know. It's December 6th. And you're down.
You just mentioned it very quickly. You're not sure where we're meeting.
Yeah, I'll get.
Let us know.
Yeah, it's capping.
So we don't miss the bus.
I'm not sure that I realized December is that close, but anyway.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there are 10 newly elected council members this year.
Wow.
And I meet with them separately normally, but I thought I would try something new. So on December 12th at 3 o'clock in this room, I've invited the newly elected council members to come. I only have, a lot of them work during the day. I only have 3 so far, and the ones that can't come, I will meet with privately. But if you're available on December 12th, it would be really nice to come and meet and greet the new council members that have just been elected. So I will send something out about that as well.
Thank you. And a real quick note for those that have agency reports, sometimes these reports aren't getting turned in. So if you're on one of the committees and you need to send in a report, please do so. Because David goes crazy, pulls his hair out.
I'm already losing it.
And he's already. Okay, any further business?
No.
Okay, all I want to say is, guys all have a great holidays. Thanksgiving's coming, so celebrate what you're thankful for, because I'm just thankful for all of you. And the next meeting, December
9th.
See you in December. Okay, we're adjourned.
Thanks, Rodney.
Thank you.
Oh.